So in the community post on this channel and on the other channel, put a picture up of the day Joe Biden put his hand on his Catholic Bible. And then there's another one right next to his picture, but I don't know if people don't follow instructions, can't read, comprehend. You know, the post always says, click on or read more. You have to click and open up the whole thing. Some people do, some people don't. And the action that he was doing that day was illegal. And then the number, just like Demar Hamlin, that hospital number at the time, the clock said at the time he was doing the heart emoji, sitting there, if it was really him sitting there, and the time on the clock was another indicator of what was going on in the picture. Same thing with sleazy Joe Beezy, old and ridiculous. The time, folks, that's the whole thing. People be missing the time, those numbers. What he was doing was illegal that day. And those numbers, just like Demar Hamlin, it's not a coincidence. The time that Demar Hamlin took that picture was 12:34. Well, the Hebrew code for that is needle injury. I can't say the V word. So the time that he had his hand on the book getting sworn in Hebrew number translation is Lucifer. 11:48. That action was illegal according to our own Constitution, because there's still a sitting president in the chair until 12 noon. But when these things are going on, again, that cabal, them folks will always let you know and identify what they're doing. And people, again, this is how deception is brought forth, because things are happening right before our very eyes and nobody is paying attention to nothing. That's the frustrating part. You know, I don't know if people, you know, when things are going up, it's like, are you opening up the whole thing? Are you looking at it? Some people got it right away. Pow. Other people, I don't know. So, you know, this is the reason why half the world was deceived. Nobody is paying attention. The answers be right there in front of your face. And don't nobody, well, I'm not going to say nobody. A lot of folks are not privy to what's happening. And that's the sad part, because that's how the enemy knows he can get over with his tricks and games, because he knows that a lot of folks ain't hip to what he's doing. And they walk right past it, just as if it was a big snake on the ground, and you don't see it. That's how folks get bit. Wasn't paying attention. These things are going on that don't make sense in the government, in the White House. They all don't make sense because of the person that's in there. But again, Old Testament, God rose kings up and he sat them down for purpose. We got to come this way in order for a lot of these prophecies to be fulfilled. And he is doing that. Biden is speaking, because he's in there. Certain things are happening because he's in there. And it has to happen that way. But people don't understand why. But when the clues are coming forward, folks, you got to be paying attention to the clues. Got to be paying attention to the clues. And the clues are based and they're numbered. The enemy plays with those numbers. It's the second time now. It's more times than that too, though, to be honest. But again, the Demar Hamlin thing was obvious for me. This is something about that picture of him in the hospital, 12:34. And it was blaring like bright headlights. Then when you look that number up in the Gematria Hebrew code, it's clear what we were looking at. Then you have old and ridiculous standing up, putting his hand on the book. And the time on the picture is telling you who his daddy is and who he worked for. And what he's doing at that particular time is constitutionally illegal. There is another person sitting in the office. You cannot be sworn in until 12 noon or thereafter. Not before. I went through all the videos that CNN provided, inaugurations. He's the only one that put his hand on the book before 12 o'clock. So that's what the picture's about. And then there's a caption over there that you must read. Okay, which is a constitutional law. But yet, I don't know if people just are not clicking on read more or whatever. But it is borderline frustrating. And this is the reason why we are in a situation that we are in. People are just not, people is like clueless, okay? You're not going the extra mile to click a button or to just simply read. There's a lot of folks that's blind that you can't teach. You know, it's like, do I have to hold you by the hand and lead you directly to the water and shove your face down in it so you can get a drink? You know, that's the problem. That's where we are. We shouldn't have to do that with folks. It should be that easy to where, okay, look at the picture, read the caption on this picture, and then look at what he's doing. The time is right there in the window. Just like with Demar Hamlin. But people just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see it. You know, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. That's why patience is a virtue today. Got to be patient. But folks going to have to catch up. You have to make like Hines and catch up quick. There's a lot of stuff going on right before your eyes. You had no idea that you was being conned and slicked right into something. That's how people got conned and slicked into taking the needle. Because there was a magic trick being performed right before your very eyes. And you wasn't looking at the hand that you couldn't see. You was looking at the hand that you could see. That's the lie part. The hand that you can't see is the truth part. That's the part that I'm looking at. Okay, so what's up with the other one? Why are you only showing me this? So this is the reason why we are in the situation that we're in as far as humanity goes, okay? And that's the whole purpose of both channels, to try to get people to snap out of that. Come on, you got to be quicker on your feet. You got to think quicker on your feet, because the enemy he's got a lot of people twirling around dizzy because nobody's paying attention to his games or his tricks and his signs and his shot calling with these numbers and events. You know, and I keep telling people, every time you see something weird go on, look at what time it was. Look at the obvious thing that they're showing you in your face. It's like a riddle, but it's not a riddle. Okay? Again, Corinthians is telling us, if you have the Spirit of the living God in you, you will understand what's going on. If somebody show it to you, you'll get it right off. Pow, I got it. Other people, you know, it's like, I don't know what you're trying to show me. You know, I don't know. It's like, oh my God, are we really here today? Are we really this far down the rabbit hole? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Okay, so go, if you haven't seen the post, go look at it in the community with Old and Ridiculous with his hand on the book. If you never paid attention to that, there's things that's going on that have gone on. If you just go back through time and look at the time and the day of when these things happen. Okay, as I told you before, if you read Leviticus 23, the Lord tells us that Sabbath was not on a Saturday, and the first day of the week is not Sunday. Those two words ain't in the book. Leviticus 23 tells you, if you do your Hebrew calendar map versus your Gregorian calendar, Sabbath is normally on a Tuesday. And when they had the 9/11 event, happened on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. When they named the pandemic, they did it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So they, you know, they know what they're doing, and they're mocking God right in front of our face. But they know that a lot of people are not hip, so they'll do it and get away with it. And by the time folk figure it out, it's too late. It's too late. So go back in the community, check that post out, and then look at it. The same way I showed you Demar Hamlin's time over his head, which was glaring. Okay? When you look at the gematria code of Demar, I already did the video on it and showed y'all the code. 12:34 p.m. Okay? But the number is 12:34. Okay? And in the Hebrew gematria code means vexation, injury. That's not a coincidence that would be over his head. And that's what happened to him. He had an injury that the NFL does not want to admit. Why? Because 95% of the NFL has been popped. and there's billions of dollars on the line, and they're not going to tell the truth because they don't want lawsuits and they don't want to stop people from going to line up to go get that thing, because that's called hesitancy. And if we tell the truth that my man died on the field for 9 minutes, 9 is the number of finality, and then you had people walking around with the number 3 and 33 on, and then people laying down there on the ground praying for him, throwing up the Baphomet hand signal while they was praying. A lot of things happen in front of folk face and wasn't nobody paying attention. Then when you bring it out, why am I not going to say nobody? I got to stop saying nobody. A lot of us were paying attention, but the majority wasn't paying attention. That's the whole thing. Are you paying attention? Or is it just going over your head? Then we can't figure out why did that happen. That didn't make any sense. But when you figure out what happened, then it makes sense. You don't need no scripture for this. This is called common sense, but common sense ain't common no more. We've lost it. We're in the breeze, flying around to and fro, being pushed all over the place. You know, there's no solidarity, and we're missing it. Nobody's grounded. No. A lot of folks are not grounded. Okay, and this is the reason why you're tossed to and fro. You know. So let me stop ranting, but I just want to come on and talk. Go to the post, go to the community, check out the post, look at his hand, look at the time, look at the other caption, and then the code that I put right there in the text. That's who he works for. As a matter of fact, what did he say when he stood at the podium? And his number was text 303033, and that number came out to be 666. This is a battle for the soul of the nation, which confirms the time that he got officiated in, which was illegal, by the way. Yeah. Okay, I'm done. Deuces.